All right. Welcome, everybody. My name's Dan. I am the narrative director for Cruise's Battle Barge, which is a 40K themed event that we do on a cruise ship. And we've got a lot of exciting information for you. This is continuing on from the 2025 Battle Barge. We are going to continue to try and increase the background and the story as we go between the events. So let me hand it over to Dax, our Wrath and Glory GM for the cruise.
Thanks, Dax. Hey, I am a local role player, a friend of the crew here, named Shelly, and if I know surface level lore for 40K, um, I'm not familiar with a lot of things, but that's why I'm here, so that everyone with newbie intro stuff has a voice and we can ask some questions and get things clarified.
Shelly is also a part of the Put Rock Ear sessions that we are doing for Cruises that Dax is so generously GMing for us to try and help expand on this plot line a little bit. Yeah. All right. Well, we do have a short story to kind of kick off things. Dex, take it away. there we end the story. Plenty of things for people to take into consideration and think about, especially those who were on Battle Barge that heard the state of the war at the end. So that's where we're at for the moment. We'll have some more stories coming up in the next few weeks to help continue with the narrative, to maybe illuminate what some of these tidbits from the story were suggesting.
I really enjoy these short stories. They're really just a window into what's going on the battle barge, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, for those that aren't aware of what Battle Barge is, we run a narrative campaign based in the Warhammer 40,000 universe on a cruise ship. So, get out at sea, enjoy yourself. Um, the narrative so far has been a labor of love for both myself and the other crew members, Dax included, despite what he says. Um, it's been a lot of great information. So how it works is basically we have our three grand factions: the Imperium, Chaos, and Xenos. Um, we set it up so that there's a hex grid map, a la the old Cities of Death, for those who may remember that from several editions back of Warhammer. And players would compete using, we were doing 2-on-2 battles where each player would bring 1,000 points of whatever army they wanted. And it would be 2-on-2, and they would determine how many their victory points would get them points for taking over hexes. And as the battle progressed, each day we would update the maps thanks to our wonderful staff, Drew, Marcel, Fu, and David. And we would post them up to let people see, so they actually got a sense of like the scale of the battle and what things were changing. Now, one thing we also did with the campaign is we had a quote unquote NPC Tyrannid group that was also kind of putting pressure on things. As the event went on, each side was pushing back and forth. It was a good time. Players were really enjoying seeing the changes between each round and realizing, oh, if they, what I enjoyed particularly was the strategy meetings. I would go meet with the different factions, the Imperium and Chaos primarily, and let them know, hey, if you look at the map here, here's some things that you could look at doing. And they had a lot of fun with it. It was a very interesting way to watch how things turned out. The players were very involved, or very invested by the end of the campaign. Just seeing the changes and huge swaths of territory just suddenly changing hands was really interesting. Um, so while we did have people typically choosing one side, or we had our Imperium players, we had our Chaos players, our Xenos players could choose basically who their points went to. So if you wound up paired with a Xenos player, they could put their points wherever they wanted. Well, our Xenos players were clever. They had a secret objective that a lot of people weren't aware of. Their goal was to basically try and make sure the Imperium and Chaos tied. So make sure nobody wins. So by the end of the cruise, it turned out that the Xenos won. They had literally kept the Imperium and Chaos within a certain points range of each other, and they wound up winning in the very end. Uh, it was there was a lot of back and forth, and a lot of players were getting really, really intense at the end. So we had a lot of great experiences seeing how everything turned out, and we were trying this for the first time, so we didn't quite know what to expect just yet, but it was really nice seeing just everybody getting excited and involved and really kind of pushing their way along the battlefield. Now, while we did do a lot of standard 40k tabletop play with the 2v2, we did have kill team, which could affect things. They often were doing behind enemy lines type missions. They could sabotage important points on the map, which was really helpful in quite a few rounds, because sometimes maybe a mission critical missile silo got sabotaged and wasn't available. And then very true. But then we also had Dax doing Wrath and Glory adventures that also provided assistance to the greater narrative by tweaking things a little bit and causing some beneficial stuff. Dax, why don't you talk about that? Patriarch on a Primarch. So yeah. Right.
So what else so you have the different groups and everything, the people who are pitted against each other, but then you also have the NPCs that you pull in for people to fight and everything on occasion, like the gene stealers, right?
Mhm.
Mhm.
We mostly did. We, And then on the from the minis side, we did have a bunch of Tyranids painted by the wonderful Impending Duff and provided by the Cruises guys that we use to, if we needed to fill in for some folks, we would, because we wanted to make sure that everyone had a good time. So we would jump in, and me or one of the other staff, like Jack, who we'll probably have on at some point, was we would jump in and play the game, give them some Tyranids to beat up on. And while we weren't looking to be particularly like deadly on the tabletop, we still gave them a good run for their money. I know I remember I played one game, I had two people come in that didn't have anybody to play against. So I was like, all right, cool, give me a minute. Threw together an army and bam, nades for days. And they had a really good time with it. So
So what? Gotta love it. Sometimes playing these things, you have like funny things that evolve with the characters you play and everything. And I know, like, when I play Wrath and Glory, my character wasn't necessarily supposed to be all about grenades, but the dice said anytime I threw a grenade, it hit dead center.
and everything dies. Hmm. Hmm.
Mhm. That's something I like about Wrath and Glory is that you don't get a lot of damage, but if you take damage, it gets brutal real quick.
Hmm.
Nice. Well, I mean about taking damage because you get in that game you get shock, right? So yeah,
Yep. Very easy. Make a couple of, dark humor jokes and everything's fine. Hmm.
absolutely.
Hmm. It's Warhammer. It's meant to be grim dark. It's gonna happen. Um,
Mhm.
but yeah. Mhm. There's a lot of up and down that can happen in those kinds of games, and similar with the Warhammer tabletop, like the miniatures game, you might be going along just fine, then all of a sudden the dice decide to turn against you, and everything just goes to hell. Yep, yep, right there with you. Just pour out a bucket of dice. Yep, and I'll be honest, I'm really looking forward to the next session of Put Rockier because we got into some shenanigans with that one. Mhm.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Mhm. Yeah, sometimes it's hard to keep like the different game styles separate. So I also want to ask more about the short story. Like,
Sure.
who is this the call? I want to know more about that. I don't know who the call is.
I mean, that depends. Do you have a short story in mind you want to do for Hayden? Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm. Ate him. Hmm. Hmm. Oh, I'm terrible with dates. I it's yeah, it's 5 or 6 years. It hasn't been that long. Abominable intelligences. So, there's not a whole lot of lore with the squats right or with the Votan right now. But and a codex or two. The big thing with them is yes, they had these. They have technology that the Imperium once had. They've kept it up and running. So that's kind of their big claim to fame. They have old STCs that the Imperium lost during the Dark Age of technology. So a lot of the Votan's weapons technically were made by humans at one point, but the Imperium lost the knowledge of how to make those things, as with a lot of the decay and stagnation in 40K. Um, there's a fan theory going around about the Votan actually gave the Tau their railguns. So yeah, um, but the Votan, these AIs, they call them ancestral cores, and they are these massive intelligences that, while they are powerful, they have gotten to the point they're basically hitting their limits of what they can do, and a number of them are even starting to break down. So that's why a lot of the Votan have re-entered the galaxy after so long, is so they can try and track down ways to maybe preserve these ancestral cores, which are pretty much the core of each of their different I forget what they're actually called, but each of their different groups. And that is one of the things that GW has been pushing for a hot minute now, but we're still waiting on really learning a whole lot more about them in general. But we do know that they are definitely very about family. Even artificial beings to them are the same as flesh and blood. And that is one of the things that I think is really interesting about the Votan that you don't see in a lot of the other factions.
Absolutely. Oh. Not Gotta love that stuff. All right. It's good to have questions at the end so that you can get the answers in the next drop.
Mm. Oh yeah.
Now we're talking and everything as well. I want to know because the rogue trader also mentions meeting with the Vostroyans. I so I, Mhm. Yeah. Yay. Posh.
Fish. One of the neat things about the Vestroyans is they are very passionate about their equipment. So for a lot of them, their equipment is like borderline sacred. And even in the Imperium, there's a lot of mysticism and mystique and faith about even equipment. The Vestroyans kind of take it to a whole nother level. They consider themselves to be, we are the first of our people. We are the biggest badasses we've got. So we're gonna make our ancestors proud. They're a really cool regiment. I do hope that they get a little more love, like the Catachans and the Kriegers have been getting from GW. There used to be a whole bunch of different ones, and the Vestroyans were definitely ones that had a very unique look.
with all the different connections and everything, I kind of I feel like I need a great big board with a lot of red lines. And just be like,
Mm-hmm. And that was kind of the point with this first story, is we're kind of pointing out that there's a lot of things going on with a lot of different groups, and there might be some fingers in different pies going on. So we want Dax wrote this one, and I think he did a really good job of touching on there's a bunch of different groups involved, and maybe there's some connections people don't realize going on in the background. We wanted to do that, especially with how the event is set up, since you never really know who you're going to get paired up with. We did actually have at least once that I can recall, an Imperial and Chaos player that wound up getting paired together because they were
oh
against a
no.
pair of Xenos players, and they were just like, I was like, you know what? I don't want to tell y'all you can't play because the two Xenos players wanted to play together. They were friends. And I was like, all right, Imperium, Chaos. You looked across the table and you went, nah, screw those guys in particular. Because there are times where weird bedfellows happen in the lore, you know? One of the most common ones is the Blood Angels wound up working with the Necrons, these soulless automations that to fight against the Tyranids, because the Tyranids are just that big of a threat. So it can happen. You just gotta, when you got look at the other army, and you're just like, oh, that's a problem.
Sometimes you gotta be cunning.
You guys are going to love this. The pug in the chat just told me that this whole time they haven't been able to hear me.
Oh no,
Yeah.
that's not good.
No, it's not.
So what? They just had a 20 minutes of silence while you were reading
Yeah.
the story?
Yeah.
Oh no.
And
That's
I mean, I turned my.
not grand.
Hang on one sec.
Yeah, we could hear you. Hmm.
Mhm.
Technology. Well, I mean, the story will be posted. You posted a link for it, right? Okay. All right.
Mhm.
Should be able to. A link to him. Yep.
All right. Just in case y'all still can't hear Dax, we're working on those issues to try to figure things out. But Dan and I can continue talking while he's working on that.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I can
um,
put the echo in. I'm sure the echo's not
okay.
pulling through.
So the echo's all right, or not pulling through because so you get echo, Dax.
Now it's not even echoing.
Oh,
That's hilarious.
okay.
Yeah. So nothing makes sense.
Nope. Nope. But yeah, for 2026, we really wanted to kind of keep people involved, keep people excited, maybe draw in some other folks by really expanding on the narrative. Because one of the big things we really wanted to do with this is we wanted to focus more on the narrative aspects of things. So we do some slightly different than usual, but we do try to keep the core of the gameplay to 40K, to kill teams, to Wrath and Glory. But we do add a few extra things, and players' contributions add up over time, which is one of the things that a lot of our folks really seem to enjoy, because it felt like, you know, even when they lost, they still had things they could do. They could still technically take territory because they did score some points. So that's one of the things I've seen with this whole project and the events and everything is people really get invested. And when I had 20 people staring at me while I'm giving, you know, tactical briefing based on this map that we had put together, they were locked in. I was like, okay, all right. But I mean, that's one of the nice things about 40K is people are very passionate about it, and some of us could sit and just talk forever on any of the topics.
I think it's neat to note is like you get invested in these stories, and especially as a participant, to be able to see your effect on the
Hmm.
story is something like role players, like people who play these games, that's what we live for, is seeing the consequences of like the ripples we create.
Yep.
Where in reality, you don't generally get to see those ripples.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's playing a book. I like it. I mean, TTRPGs, I actually wrote a curriculum on TTRPGs because they've meant so much for me. Because in my mind, it's kind of like they're, if you've got a good group, it's as good as any movie. You got a GM. It's better in some ways. Yeah, you don't have the big budget production, but the theater of the mind and the fellowship with your friends. How often do you see five people with different religions, different sexes, different genders, different um, races working for the same goal? So and it's been like that since I started, because I started playing D&D in '95. I think I started in '95. And 40K way before that. But yeah, D&D TTRPGs were a big factor in me becoming more social. Um, and honestly, the only gripe we really got, because we asked for feedback on the cruise, and like you were saying, that interaction, the only gripe we had was for more of it. That was really it. Um, it was always the same gripe. We want to have more effect on things, like
Hmm.
narratively. They had effect on the score, but they wanted to see narrative impacts of what they were doing, which is what led us to where we are today.
Yep. Yep. And a lot of the short stories that we're planning have a lot of that in mind. Some of them are like some of the ones Dax is working on are very focused on like the Wrath and Glory stuff. Mine, I've been writing some that are very focused on some like events that I had heard from people, or just some ideas for what might happen after some of what happened during the campaign. And leading up to it, we want to have players show up at the next event and just be excited because they know they've got the prelude. Now let's do the big thing. Let's fight it out and see what happens this year. Will the Xenos win again? Will it be Imperium? Will it be Chaos? What's the fate for
Imperium.
it? Yeah,
Yep.
burn them all.
But also expand it, because I mean, like as soon as we had our first meeting, everybody in the meeting for the crew was they had these cool ideas. I mean, especially Drew. Drew dropped this great idea right out the box, and that's what we're doing with Put Rock here. So Drew was the one that had the idea for the Space Hulk. Um, and then Dan and Jack had been talking about more fleet-based warfare.
Yep.
So yeah, so it's not only is it a natural progression, but it's also a natural growth.
Hmm. And like if Games Workshop, if you're listening, brought back Battlefleet Gothic, which was the space battles game they used to have. We would absolutely incorporate that into the narrative campaign and really hit all the levels: space combat, the foot combat, the secret missions for like Wrath and Glory. You got your kill team action. We want to roll it all together because for us that is the quintessential experience. You're fighting a war, you've got all these different groups that are working together or fighting against each other, and just see what you can pull off, because that's one of the things in 40K is it's always this huge chaotic mess, and being able to see it at all the different levels I think is what really makes it exciting for me especially.
That is not us saying that there won't be tables in the tournament that are boarding actions.
Mhm. We are looking at boarding actions. There might also be a special opt-in event for an apocalypse game. For those that don't know, apocalypse is where you toss point values out the window and just kind of go, all right, load up the board. What do you got?
And if you like
So,
Gloriana, she might be involved in some of that.
I know for me, back, I think it was in 5th edition, um, buddy of mine was like, they just released new rules. Let's try it. I was like, okay. He's like, I asked him, I was like, what do I bring? He just said, everything. I went, oh.
Yeah. Yeah, Apocalypse games
So,
got massive.
mhm. Yeah, like I think the one we did was like 12,000 points aside. For anyone that doesn't know, the 40k tabletop, 2,000 points is the standard. So it got a little crazy.
I'm just playing on God mode.
Yeah.
It's more
Against
that like,
gods.
yeah, it's more that like full grand strategy type game at that point. You're really seeing like the whole army rather than the focus of the 2,000 points that most games are.
Hey,
I always
Jack.
look at that as like,
Jack just showed up.
hey,
Hey, Jack.
um, the 2,000 points is this is the pinnacle fight of this much larger battle going on around us. Sometimes it's kind of neat to just go, hey, look, bigger battle, more shenanigans.
Yep.
Yes, we are planning to do an opt-in apocalypse event at the next cruise. Still working out the final details, but that will definitely be an option for people, and we'll let people know once we have more info on that.
4 layers of 40k. We, Wrath and Glory. Natsui, Kill Team. More, not we, 40k. And then frickin' huge, Apocalypse. And if we do
Well,
get if we do get some fleet going, that's 5 layers of 40k.
mm-hmm. Well, and that's the other thing is like Wrath and Glory didn't just, we did this cool little thing. No, it had a greater impact on the full campaign. Like at some junctures, it would have been, you know, the NPC Tyranids don't get to apply any points to anything for that day, which wound up probably saving the Hive City in a couple of those rounds because they started pushing on the Hive City objective really freaking hard, and then all of a sudden it's like, we have a chance to breathe. Oh, we should reinforce that.
And Shelly, you would have loved it. They really liked these. We made these Nurgle gardens, like physical gardens of Nurgle. So if what would happen is they'd have multiple objectives. Like if they failed this, if they succeeded this, but then we also every encounter had a bonus objective. So one of the bonus objectives was the result is they got a physical Garden of Nurgle, and Dan and Jack had rules for it. So they would take that Garden of Nurgle into their game and put it on the board on the tabletop
Yep,
in
as a piece
40k.
of terrain. Mm-hmm.
That's fantastic.
Yeah,
I love
Yep.
that.
yeah.
And that's the kind of stuff that we really enjoy doing with the narrative aspect of things, and that's the kind of thing that we can do since we're shying away from like the competitive layer of things. And one thing that I also found really surprising was how many people had only been playing for like a year, yet they were already willing to throw down the money to go on a cruise
Yeah.
for 40k.
Yeah.
And it was really cool seeing the excitement of people who had only been playing for a year, maybe 2.
Yep.
And just being like, this is amazing. I am having so much fun with this. I think our crowning achievement was we had one gentleman who had flown in from, I think it was LVO. It was one of the large events, and was like, I am so glad I came and did this. This is, in one day, I've had almost as much fun as I did at that whole event I just came from. And I was like, yay.
Yeah.
So
We
we kind of
actually
did.
we went through and we everybody had an excitement like that one big thing. Because we went out when we did our crew meetup, there was for every person there was an instance like that. But Jack's like right
Mhm.
there with you with that one.
Yep. And that was one of those things of like, it was really interesting to see just how easily everyone kind of blended together and just kept going with it and just got more and more invested each time. As the cruise went on, everyone started getting more invested because each day I would do kind of a emergency broadcast announcement, kind of giving people a sense of the state of the war, and people really enjoyed it. It was really surprising to me to see 50 something people like intently listening to me. I figured, yeah, okay, half the people here are not going to even really be patient. No, everyone was like locked in, like, okay, what's going on? I want to hear this.
And immediately started scheming.
Yes.
Those damn dirty Xenos. That was like the best rope-a-dope I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm. And to be honest, they did just they came in by like a hair of achieving that. It honestly could have gone either way,
Yeah, it was just
but
so it was so calm and calculated.
well, on the I gave them their objective
Yep.
secretly. Let them know, hey, you get to choose where you want to put your points. Maybe you want to make sure they tie. But I didn't tell them who was in the lead at any given time, so they managed to balance it really well. Um, but with that, that also means this coming year that the Xenos might have a different objective. This time it might be hold Equinor from the Imperium and Chaos. Because, well, this planet's on a crossroads. One of the reasons why Equinor is really important is it is on a crossroads of several established warp pathways for Imperial faster than light travel. Not to mention, it also has our kind of MacGuffin item, the Gekuonium, that was mentioned in the story, that is only producible here, and it's a great catalyst for like plasma reactions and certain refining things throughout the Imperium. That they're like, yeah, all right, we need to hold on to this place.
And it may not be so to different factions. That may not even be what's important to them,
Mm-hmm.
as you will find out in some of the short stories.
Mm-hmm.
I guess since I was
Yep.
muted, I should let me since we're on Xenos and short stories. So Shelly had asked a question earlier, and I was apparently having technical difficulties. So no one other than you two got to hear the answer to her question. So Call Aiden Cord is the leader of the Nyarlath Kindred, which is that small unit that Moldavia was talking about on Equinor proper. Um, and his nickname that I was talking about, which you didn't get to hear either, was the Pick of Destiny, but Pick, not Pick. Um, so the different factions have different things that they want, and there's going to be more campaigns also, like other than the one you're playing for the orcs. There's going to be campaigns going forward for the other factions also. I think Chaos is next.
Yep. Yep.
So you'll get to see what everybody is doing there. Yeah, the Gakuonium is important to the Imperials. You don't know yet who all it's important to. Some people just may think they have a claim to the planet, or couple of factions may think they have a claim to the planet.
Or some people might just think, hey, get off my lawn.
I
Yeah,
said that. I said that the nice way.
we have stories from a bunch of different angles planned. So really hope folks stick around to see what other shenanigans we have involved in mind, because we plan to progress the story as we continue to do these to really develop what's coming in the battle for Equinor in 2026.
And next time I'll make sure that the audio is picking up the story.
Try and pre-record that.
Yeah, so what it is, it's the Discord or the window audio on my streaming software on OBS is a beta. So it's probably linked to that because it's kind of the same issue we had when we gamed the first time together, Dan. And it was the same. It's beta. It's been beta ever since. They haven't put out an actual for it, so it's probably something in there. But what I'll do is, so for the 25 minutes I sat here and the stream was silent, I'll just go through and tomorrow morning I'll do a Saturday morning video where I do the story again. So we'll still have it. So it'll be the same
It was a
place.
really good story, guys. Really good story.
Well, thank you. And it'll be in the same place
I
for
love.
everybody to hear it.
I got a sneak peek of one of the upcoming smaller stories too, and I love the wording and like some of the little phrases in it are just gold.
Mm-hmm.
That's 40K. There's no good guys.
Yep.
Everyone thinks they're a good guy, maybe.
No, I don't believe that at all. Orcs don't think they're good guys. Chaos, I
Yeah, they
guess
do.
some Chaos think that they're good guys.
They just
No,
have a
orcs
different
even say we is bad.
personality.
They actually say we is bad. They know they bad
They
boys.
take it as their badasses
Oh,
rather
okay,
than
okay.
Whiz bad. Same thing as saying sick or gnarly.
Yeah, okay.
I just want to fight.
I didn't know that y'all were so versed in High Orcish. Jack wants to know which story you got a sneak peek at. Don't reveal too much.
I'll tell you the name of it anyway. What is it? I have it saved. Goeth Before the Fall.
Oh.
Yep.
That's the one I want you to read.
Yeah.
You'll notice there's a name from this story in that story.
Yep. And a number of the stories are connected. Some aren't necessarily connected right away, but there might be some allusions to things that are coming.
Main
So,
protagonist's race. The main protagonist. How much do we want to tell them about that one? Since we introduced Gloriana, should we spill a little bit? Just a little bit?
I mean, go right ahead.
So the main protagonist's race is human. Um, and the faction is it's really ecclesiarchal, but it's a sororita story. So Gloriana from the short story that I read in silence earlier, she peeks. So the Holy Acrimony, the story that I didn't read earlier, uh, really ties everything together. So it was the sum up for Battle Barge 2025, and in it you got to meet probably the three most powerful Imperial figures. One of them was Inquisitor Grimm. One of them is the rogue trader Moldavia Vex, and the other was Mother Gloriana. Um, and so the cool thing about that one, what I will give you, Shelly, is that particular short story is not only going to deal with the tabletop that Dan and Jack are running. That particular short story is also going to be the third streamed campaign for Battle Barge.
Nice.
So you get to see the campaign picks up
For
right there.
awesome. So everyone knows too, I have the honor of Gloriana was originally a character that I played in a Wrath and Glory campaign. So I have the honor to
That was you, huh?
have her as part of things here, which I'm very honored for.
Nice. So her sidekick, basically her guard, Griselle,
Yeah.
that was my first Wrath and Glory character. Yep. Yeah. We bonded, fool. We blood. So yeah, I'm sure we can get you in on that campaign too pretty easily. You can't play Gloriana though.
I'll play my old Dark Heresy character instead.
That was a good system too. My first Dark Heresy character is in the stories. Feely 10.
Now you'll once Dax redoes the story, pay attention to a lot of names because a lot of them will show up again. I know for certain, at least 4 people named in the story are going to show up elsewhere and again,
Yeah.
which will be exciting.
Yeah, more than that. Shelly had the right idea. So when I post it correctly, because if you haven't noticed, my claim to fame is not brains. When I post it correctly, I would say bring a notepad, write names
Mm-hmm.
down. Every name could mean something. That's just the way I roll.
Mm-hmm.
You never can tell.
Get your red yarn and and corkboard ready.
Yeah, I had a Faerun campaign. I swear to God, I had a Faerun campaign that at second level they saw these ruins with not a diorama. What's it called? A scene. There's a word for it. On a wall. Mural. There was a mural on these ruins, thousands of years old ruins, right? That was the characters. Like they were looking at a mural of themselves, but evolved a little bit. Like one of them had angel wings and one of them had bat wings. And so when the game ended, they were doing what was in that mural. It was a big battle, and one of them had sprouted angel wings, and one of them had devil wings, and they were fighting in the sky. It was exactly what they saw at level 2. So even in an orc campaign, nothing may be what it
Much for
seems.
foreshadowing.
Yeah.
But no, we have a lot of great stuff we're putting together. We've already got several stories prepared. We're going to be doing more throughout the year, so we hope you all stick around and are as excited about them as we are.
Yeah, and if you haven't got your tickets, you still got time.
Mm-hmm.
And the EC guys, they don't do just Battle Barge. They've got D20 coming up in April. Although
Mm-hmm.
the tickets are tickets still open for that? They may have just closed those, honestly. But they could probably still get you
I
in.
think they're still open.
Are they? So they've got D20 coming in April, which is more
Mm-hmm.
fantasy-based TTRPG. They've got, and it's not
It'd
exclusive
be
to
almost exclusive.
yeah, it's not even exclusive to D20. From what I hear, they bring tons of stuff. And then they've got GakuCon.
Mm-hmm.
Did I pronounce that right?
Which is more anime, yeah. Gakukan, yeah. It's more anime video game oriented, so a little more like your, small convention type thing. But I know people have a really good time with it. Uh, they do competitions for, like, I believe they said they do cosplay. Um, I haven't done that one, but I'm one of the GMs for the D20 cruise. That's been a lot of fun. Um, you know, Working with them for Battle Barge has also been a blast. Granted, it kind of ran itself once we did all the setup work, which was kind of nice. All we really had to do was do here's the strategy, here's the updates. Okay, let's pair tables, and now I'm going to sit here and wait.
Yeah, it's a bunch of the crew. Everybody's awesome at what they do. Foo's art. I'm like Foo's biggest fan. He's a great artist. Drew is just Mr. Get things done. It seems like they sick Drew on stuff like a hound dog. Get it, get it. Um, and
Yeah.
then like Dan and Jack's the whole world or this I can't say world. The world is 40K, which is of course
Yeah.
copyright Games Workshop, but the system or sector that we're in was created by
Yep.
Dan and
Hell's
Jack.
Reach. Hmm. And it was. We left a lot of things open because we wanted to see how people took it. We wanted to see where people wanted to go with it. But it's going to slowly expand as the narrative continues. So here's to hoping that, people are excited and stick with us because this is going to go on for a while, I think.
Yeah, man, we're gonna make sure of that. So Jack says when the crew said they were lacking things to do because people were being awesome all around, I can't take that but as a win. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's what we were saying before you hopped on, Jack, is when we did our little crew meet and we went around the table, everybody had something that was just like the big win for them. And they were pretty much all
Yep.
different.
Mhm.
Mine, I cried. I'm just a 6'2" emotional baby. And then I got sick.
Yeah.
I walked off the battle cruise or battle barge by myself, and it was a good thing because I got COVID.
Oof.
What are you gonna do?
Yeah. No, it was a great experience, and I felt truly honored to see that many people that excited. And like for me as a writer, that is always the payoff is just the excitement and just listening to people talk about what's going on or what they experienced. that for me is always the biggest payoff. And it's so much fun to hear people telling stories or joking around or, kibitzing about the various moments during their game. Like, oh, you blew up my night. It was perfect. And then it exploded. And everything went to hell.
Yeah.
Even the fumbles you end up enjoying too. It's like crit fails are super fun to play out.
Yeah, they're supposed to be. Not everybody does. Yeah.
And that's the thing I love about the narrative campaigns is because it's less cutthroat than competitive play. People can just have fun with it, and I that to me is the ideal experience. Because sure, it's nice to win, but I like telling a story. I like having there being meaning behind the games. Um, so having people flesh out the story and give us ideas and give us things to work with and hearing their excitement over all of it is just, it's huge, and it really makes the whole experience worth it.
Absolutely. Yep. Yep. I'm the same. My biggest draw was, like Dan knows, I have kind of an aversion to money. My payment is different. My payments are smiles. Smiles, laughter, thought. I love it when someone's like, "Is that?" That's like maybe that's like the moment of revelation. Like Dan calling me a son of a bitch in our game a few weeks ago. You son of a bitch. I'm like, yeah, that's my $100 bill right there. Love that. Ah.
That's the moment where you say, "Oh, I need more red yarn. Dang it."
When it all clicked in place, I'm like, oh no, 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 no.
Yeah. It's still sending
Very sad.
ripples. Oh yeah, it's still sending ripples.
Hmm. And that's what we're hoping to bring to everybody as we do this, and just you know bring the fan base together, enjoy good times, tell a story, have some fun. So I I'm excited for what's coming. I've had a blast writing all of this, putting it all together. It's honestly for me, it's just as fun to do this in my spare time as it is when we're actually on the cruise. So putting this all together and seeing people enjoy it just makes me happy.
Yeah. I had a discussion about that with my oldest son and oldest friend just last week. I had to find a game in which I could play because I told him I have no stressless um, facets of my life, and it seems weird when you're doing stuff that you like, because art is my passion, and when you're doing things that you like, even for a living, it's still stressful. So it's like, I GM, and it's a lot of stress, and I do art, and it's a lot of stress, and write, and it's a lot of stress. And so I didn't really have anything that was de-stressing. So I had to find a GM, um, just because I needed that. But at the same time, it was accumulated need. And honestly, the cruise kind of filled that role too. So it's like when I went on the cruise, I'm like, well, this is different. This is cool. Let me tell you, Roatan, Honduras changed my life. It really did. Um, and so the not only the crew, but the players were de-stressing for sure. Um, but the passion is in that fellowship for me. But that's probably just because that's what art is. Um, there's a lot in chat. Give me a moment. The narrative allows you to intertwine everything to a level that a general tournament just can't do. Yep, yep. The
Yep.
collaboration between Dan Dax and I was phenomenal, and the EC guys just let us do it. Yeah, yeah. They're getting more involved now. I love that shit.
Mhm.
I want Drew to make the Ed Banga. Did you guys mention the 3D printed map? He kind of glazed over the map, if I'm honest. He's talking about the hexagonal light up map. You want to tell Shelly about that?
So we
Ooh.
had Drew was kind enough to 3D print us a full, I think it was like 183 hexes, and he had got this set up that he could actually program LEDs under it, so he could actually show like what we were projecting up on some screens. He actually had a physical like battle map, and it was all this semi-transparent plastic, so it looked almost like a holographic map for like a battle display, and it was really cool.
Yeah.
I know. I think the software for it got a little finicky, but once we figured it out, we had a lot of fun with it. And number of times people would just come up and like start looking at it, and pointing at stuff. I'm like, what is that? What is that? Because like he had gotten hexes. It wasn't just like they were just flat hexes. It was literally like 3D printed buildings and structures or just wasteland. And it was a really cool idea to do that, because then people also had this tangible thing in front of them they could look at and be like, huh,
Yeah.
well, there's that. Oh, so that's where the Hive City is. Oh, that's where the gun batteries are.
Yeah. And then, so saying that they kind of let us roll with it, we don't want you to think for a second that they weren't doing anything. My God. Jack is referring specifically to the writing, specifically, because in addition to that hollow, um, yeah, in addition to the hollow, they also Drew was constantly printing terrain.
Mm-hmm.
Like he printed and painted so much. They all did terrain for these
Yep.
tables. So each table was unique, completely unique. It was crazy. It
Yep.
was Xenos forest, frozen tundra, cityscape, etc., 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 etc. And we've already talked to him about some of the stuff that they're going to do for this one, and it's going to be pretty legit. And like
Mm-hmm.
Frank was constantly ahead of everything site-wise. Like I said, Foo's art. Well, this is my artwork. That's not Foo's, but Foo did all the artwork on their site. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and then Marcel, Mr. PR. He's the he is the people person if I ever saw one. I love that man. Were I not very heterosexual, I would be in love with Marcel.
But yeah, no, they 3D printed a ton of terrain, because that's one of the things for a lot of 40K games that people either take for granted or don't just have access to, is good looking terrain, because it does
Mhm.
kind of set the feel. One of the boards we had a whole bunch of Tyranid based terrain, and I had set up this horrible looking map. You just all these like spiky towers and like fleshy pits with teeth and stuff, and it was really cool. And a lot of players, like, they'd look at it and they'd go, "Oh, I'll fight on this. I don't want to touch that."
Yeah, yeah. Or the
Yeah,
alternate, I
it's
really
it's
want to.
just or I really want to, but my character doesn't.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. We need Doomfen models, is what we need.
Yep. Yep.
But yes, Jack, you are right. Duff, we gave Duff some credit earlier. Duff is our miniature painting guru. So, like I said, everybody brings something extremely awesome to the table.
Yep.
Literally.
Yeah.
And having terrain tables is a huge benefit for like visualizing what's going on.
Yeah.
I
Mm-hmm.
know a lot of the time when I'm role playing different things, depending how we're working things, it's there can be a disconnect, but when you have good terrain table and you can immediately
Mm-hmm.
see what's going on, it's huge for everyone's understanding.
Mm-hmm. Well, like, I'm running a Wrath and Glory game here for some friends, with Shelly included. One of the first games I did it was literally they're holding off this just green tide coming at them, and so I literally just put piles of orc models on this board that I had set up, and they'd kill a bunch, and just to kind of keep the thing going, I'd take the ones they killed and just put them right at the back, and it just that kept coming, and they just had to hold out until they got the fire support they needed. And that's one of the things that just makes it feel good, is being able to see those things and really have that kind of like tangibility to it.
Oh, yeah. We love toys.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's basically what the hobby is. You're playing with little
Yep.
plastic miniatures. So.
With toy soldiers, step by step, heart to heart. And dice too. I mean, it extends to everything, and it's not just a dude
Mm-hmm.
thing. I mean, the toy thing is kind of a dude thing, but the art is really like I'm old enough, half the century that I am, to have seen gaming go from the taboo to accepted by everybody. And the amount of females that are in gaming now, I mean, it's at least 50-50. Not necessarily every game, but gaming in general. I tell you now,
Yeah.
it's at least 50-50. And the different aesthetics of the game seem to attract the different sexes a little bit more, but evenly. And it seems like just the visual art seems to grab the girls where the toys still grab the guys. And it's just the
Yeah.
tangibility, whether it's a token or a really cool die that's got a little chicken inside of it, the tangibility that Dan's talking about, that I actually wanted to go that route with Wrath and Glory too. So like every player on their last session, well, they were one session each. That's a cop out, but at the end of each session, everybody involved got a flyer, like a scroll for their faction that detailed something. It was usually bad because like the Chaos campaign was very Eastern. It was a very Eastern ending. So most of the time it was bad, but there was one from Moldavia from the Rogue Trader. Just so you have that tangibility, memento.
It adds with a little bit of the immersion of the whole thing,
Yeah,
for
man.
certain.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We can't LARP, so that's the next thing. That's the next thing they'll do will be a LARP cruise. You watch. Yeah,
Well,
so
they did talk about it at one point.
did they? So Jack,
Great.
I'm sure that y'all be fighting Doomfin on the tabletop, Jack, but the Doomfin may or may not have shown up in a short story recently.
Mm-hmm.
Yep,
A Doom fan? That's cool.
Doomfin. Take it, Dan.
So there was so among the files that Drew got for this 3D printed hex map that he built, there was one that just had this like big, almost dopey looking like shark thing kind of biting up out of the water, and we decided, okay, that's hilarious. We're gonna do something with that. So it turns out there's this massive creature. Whether it's tyrannid or not, that's still a question of debate, but it keeps showing up and causing problems. So players had the option of, rather than taking territory, they could throw effort at defeating Doomfin. And there were different benefits for that. Um, in the last round of the last cruise, I told all the Xenos players, hey, if you kill Doomfin, that increases your window for whether or not you win. And let me tell you what, Doomfin died real fast.
Oh,
And
poor Doom.
it was literally, well, it kept coming back. That was the problem. Or there were multiples of them. That's the terrifying part. But we had fun with it, and people like got really into it because at one point I even did detail a story with Doomfin and just this like epic battle going on. But that's the kind of thing we also enjoy. It's just those little fun moments that you can just turn into something narrative and make it memorable.
Yeah. Yep. Like wicked little young girl Adeptus Mechanicus chaos characters.
Oh God.
Oh, she was so creepy. She had little mechanical spider legs, Shelly, and she had
Love that.
her face was porcelain because she was Adeptus Mechanicus, but she was still like a little girl body. Um, and she had the big mechadendrite claw, but she had put a sock puppet on it. And she had magnetic legs, so she could crawl on walls like a spider. Um, and then she got a mutation where she moved like faster than sound. Oh, it was so creepy. So creepy.
Beautiful.
So did
I
you?
love the creepy stuff.
So I mean, cruise questions aside, do you have any questions about 40K proper? Because this podcast is also going to be a place to talk about just the lore. Because honestly, 40K, I've always said it is the best sci-fi. There is no sci-fi universe better, in my humble opinion, than 40K. Not even Star Wars. I'll say it.
It's it depends on your prefer either it's utopia or dystopia
It's
for sci-fi.
yeah, it's totally dystopia. Yeah.
Yep.
Because I feel like the other side of the coin are this is like the dark version where we could have like Star Trek or we could have 40K in our future depending where we go.
Yeah, Star Trek is the opposite of 40K. It's exactly what it
Yep.
is. It's the opposite.
Exactly.
This is all, oh, cool Star Trek, and then 40K.
Yeah.
It's like Star Trek. Let's observe and figure out if we can communicate and meet these folk. 40K, burn it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Burn the heretic.
40K is so Star Trek is our societal lit mirror, and 40K is our societal dark mirror, like our shadow mirror.
Hmm.
Like you knew the Emperor, did you know the Emperor was Alexander the Great?
I did not know that.
Yep.
Yeah, in the lore, he showed up a couple of times in history. How factual that is, because 40K lore does take some liberties here and there.
Hmm.
But yeah, he showed up a handful of times, had a big splash, and then would disappear for a while. And it wasn't until he was kind of like, all right, things have gotten bad.
Yep.
I'm taking over.
Y'all screwed up so
Done.
much.
Hmm.
No more religion. No more
Not originally.
smartphones. No more social. No, not originally. That wasn't planned.
Oh yes.
Yeah, so the one of my favorite chapters was to blame for that actually. The
Mm.
word bearers used to be the imperial heralds, and he tasked one of his sons with squashing all of the fake religions, and his son just did it too well. He,
Womp
he
womp.
the imperial heralds became the word bearers, and they created the imperial cult. And he found out about it, and he laid into his son. And
Lorgar.
they're pretty much the ones that caused the revolt, the horse heresy.
Hmm. Yep.
Mm.
Ah,
I know a
we
little bit about the Horus Heresy.
we wanted to revere the emperor as a god. He
Hmm.
said no. Flap. Okay, we're gonna go to these other gods now. That's the Cliff Notes
That is
version.
the Cliff Notes.
The
We could
very close,
we
Yeah,
could probably sit
I'd
here
say.
for 2 hours easily just
yeah.
going over all of that.
There's like 60 years of buildup before that.
Hmm.
Daddy issues are paramount. The horse heresy is pretty much daddy issues. But
Hmm.
if you really want Cliff Notes, daddy issues.
Yeah. And if you ever run into a character named Erebus, you kill that
Oh,
motherfucker.
yeah, he's so bad. That is the one thing that all 40Kers have in common. They hate Erebus. Yeah, everybody
You
hates
put
Erebus.
Erebus in the equation anywhere, everyone's gonna go, no. That guy, no.
Noted. I have not
He's also a word
thought
bearer.
about that
Yeah.
yet.
He is the one that caused the horse heresy. He is to
Yeah,
blame.
he is the architect. And ugh, he's a monster. Uh, Despite that, I think GW built him outside of a few like Marty Sue kind of moments, built him very well to be the like, no, that is a villain. Like,
Yeah.
no doubt in your mind, that is a villain.
Yeah, I agree with that.
There's so many villains in 40K.
Well, yeah, I wasn't exaggerating. There's no real good guys. The closest you get to good guys are
Yeah, that's fair.
probably the salamanders. They're probably the closest to good guys.
The ones that still burn children.
Not human
Well,
children.
yeah, oh yeah, they will.
Oh wait, if they're traitorous, sure, but the salamanders still look out for the common man. The blood
for the
angels are
most part.
the blood angels are probably right behind them. They just have that whole have to drink blood thing. Um, the
The
Tau,
wolves, they went, hey, inquisitors that want to wipe all these people out after the third battle for Armageddon. No, we're protecting them. Screw off.
yeah, but they also just an inquisitorial fleet showed up in their atmosphere and they kind of wasted them too. So they're pretty
Yeah.
bad. I mean, they're space Vikings. How good can you be? At least they don't.
The closest thing you're going to get to good guys in the 40k setting are the orcs, because they just want to fight and have fun.
Orcs is balance. Yeah.
Hmm.
Tau are pretty good, but their ethereals are they're iffy. Ethereals are iffy. The average Tau, probably a good person, but the average ethereal, probably not.
Hmm.
There's some janky shit going on there. You'd like them though. You'd like the Tau. And the Sororita, I love them. They're so close to being good, but they,
They have the mindset for it in a
yeah.
way.
So the short story you read, it's supposed to express that. It's the whole point is getting behind the close quarters. You know, they're stuck in those cloisters, and the common person just does not really. The common person kind of annoys them. They have no social skills whatsoever. Um, the GW show Pariah Nexus, that's the name of the show too, right? The show Pariah Nexus really grasped the sororita well. If you haven't watched
Hmm.
it, you should, because it was just that wake up moment that she had where she really
How do you
thought
spell that? The
Pariah
pariah
Nexus,
nexus?
Pariahnexus. Yep.
Nexus. There it is.
Yep.
Yeah.
You'll have to watch it on
Yeah.
YouTube if you don't have Warhammer Plus, but I think all the videos are on YouTube now. And there's
Oh,
this, there's the, you have the, like one of the lead characters is a sororita that she just really thinks that she's good. She's so righteous until that wake up moment where she's like, oh shit, I'm not good. Loved that. Loved that.
yeah, but in the 40k universe, it's kind of hard to really be a good person, because every time, like, everybody has good intentions, and yeah, you have your couple of heroes here and there, but it's just so big that it doesn't matter in the
And
grand scale of
but
things.
that's what makes the best stories in 40K to me. You've got your
Oh yeah.
Eisenhorn stories, sure, and all praise Dan Abnett. I cannot, even though I'm pissed at him, I can't really say I don't like him. I'm pissed at him for the Sanguinius thing. I don't understand, Dan. I don't understand, Dan. I really don't understand, Dan. Anyway, um, so you've got your Eisenhorn, where the problem with Eisenhorn is he can do whatever he wants, right? That's the only drawback to the novels. So it's not really a good in-depth look at the universe. The average person doesn't get to do whatever they want. You've got Caiaphas Cain, which they're brilliant, brilliant novels. So Caiaphas Cain follows a commissar, Shelley, that admits he is no hero. He always takes the choice that gets him out of harm's way, but inadvertently, it ends up making him look like a hero.
Yep.
So
I'm
he's
going
both
to escape this way. Oh crap! I ran into the enemy.
yeah, like his defining moment, what made him the big hero is he was trying to get away from I think it was Tyranids actually. He's trying to get away from Tyranids and he sees some mortar artillery. And so he calls it, he's like, hey, I'm at angle, I'm at these degrees. There's a whole bunch of shit behind me. Could you blow it up? And so they're like, oh, there's this brave commissar. He gave us the location of the enemy. So they kill him and save him. And they're like, oh, he's a hero. And so his books are kind of great because you get that alternate perspective. The horror short stories I love because they typically give you the the perspectives that you miss in all the novels. So the horror short stories are typically like your average layman, your average administratum, your average Noble. There's a really cool one that deals with nobles. And so when you're seeing it from that different aspect, it not only does it make it unique, but you're understanding stuff about the universe, the grim dark that you don't get before. And every time you've got a good person, they are just like, oh shit, how do you stay a good person in this universe? And almost every time it ends up in their death. Just because, like Dan says, it's almost
Ring to find are
impossible.
the martyrs.
Yeah, it's almost impossible to be a good person in the 40K universe.
Mhm. Well, and it's also it's not just because it's people are just choosing to be evil. There's just so much going on at a given time, and things are just so rough that I think that's one of the things people forget, that 40K was originally built as satire, and it is literally, you know, this was to show you what this dystopian future would look like, and it's spiraled from there and turned into this monolithic thing. And like once you get like a real sense of the actual scale of some things, you're just like, oh, like a lot of the video games like Dark Tide and the Space Marine video games really give you a sense of like the depth and scale of some of these things. Like you read, oh, there's this, 20-story tall statue. How do you envision that? You know? Um,
I think that's huge in 40K. You always have this like these tiered characters with the different battle armor sizes and everything, and you think like you just
Yeah.
picture these tiny little people going through these massive corridors, and then they're followed by a giant who's followed by a giant to them who's followed by another giant.
Yeah. Yeah, that aspect ratio is exactly what I'm talking about. So Space Marine, the first Space Marine video game was just epic because of that. Because what you got to see is these Space Marines showed up, and the IG, the Astra Militarum, the average human troop, some of them were bowing to these things because they see them as angels. A lot of them just literally see them as angels. The Sororita kind of see them as angels.
that's not true.
They do kind of see them as angels. They
A
even
lot of them also just see him as dangerous mutants.
Well, that depends on the chapter and the why can't I think of what the sororita are called?
Orders.
Yeah. Um,
Different orders, yeah.
but yeah, and so in the Space Marine video game, which wasn't even the first really good video game, the Tau had a video game called Fire Warrior, which was just phenomenal, phenomenal. Anyway, so Space Marine came out, and you get to see the average human looking up to this 8 foot tall Space Marine, and a lot of them bowing down to him. Um, and the Space Marines, I mean, some of the Space Marines are supposed to be able to level a city, like, and probably could. And so, like, one of the big kicks I got recently, I was telling Dan, I got a real big kick recently watching people's reaction to the 40K secret level episode, because nothing introduces you to Space Marines better than that. Because their whole shtick is win the combat as quickly and gory as possible. It's psychological warfare
Yep.
alongside brutality. Like that's how they
Mhm.
fight.
Yeah, and that's another thing that between the various shows and video games and stuff really brings into perspective for like you can read it and you can see the artwork of these epic battles, but when you actually see the like carnage that's caused, it's just like whoa.
Carrie
Yeah,
says she was impressed at that. I'm like, yeah, they're supposed to be impressive, exactly.
hmm and that's, I'm really glad to see that it's getting more attention. I'm super excited for the Henry Cavill shows that are coming because I know he's going to make it fantastic because he's an absolute 40K nerd.
I keep wondering if he's
And
going to bring in the other 40K nerds in the business. Because Vin Diesel
we will
plays.
see.
Vin Diesel
hmm
plays. Tom Holland plays. Who else was it that plays? Somebody else big plays.
Yeah, and I'm excited to see what they bring to the table because I know that's going to be, because he wants it to be as accurate to the lore as possible, and I'm just really excited to see what he brings because this is such a good franchise.
Do you
So
think he's
much
going to be
good
Eisenhorn?
satire.
Yeah.
I've heard that
Well,
rumor. I've heard he's going to be Titus. Like the rumors keep swirling around. So,
yeah.
for your reference, Shelly, Titus is the a Space Marine captain, depending on time frame here, from the video games. The most recent one, Space Marine and Space Marine 2. So
Gotcha.
he's kind of made a big splash onto the scene with
Only,
the release
only,
of Space Marine 2.
only because he's the coolest Ultramarine ever.
It's crazy the amount of that 40K has grown because you've got little like like movies and like episodic series, and then you've got the tabletop role play, which with Wrath and Glory. You've got like the older game, which was Dark Heresy, and then you've got just the straight up like minis command, just playing war and placement with running battles and things.
Mhm.
And I know there's more that I'm missing too.
I
It's
mean, the novels, yeah, they've got so they start one of the coolest things that one of the things that got me back in was that they started doing more side games because I've been following it since '93, literally. So they used to do like Space Hulk and Blood Bowl, and they had these really cool side games, and they didn't do much more for the longest time. And then surely, of course, after I got out, they did Underworld, they did um, Warcry.
Necromunda.
Well, Necromunda's back. I played Necromunda
Yeah.
back in the day, but
Hmm.
Necromunda's back, and it's back with a force. My God, so many people. Anyway, um, uh, Underworld, Warcry, Necromunda, Kill Team, they boarding action,
Hmm.
kinda.
They
Um,
had Aerospace Imperialis there for a while,
yeah,
or Aeronautica Imperialis.
Blackstone Fortress.
Hmm.
Space Hulk came back out, and it was
Hmm.
pretty cool. They've been doing so many different side games. He's in Convo a lot in my other chat on Discord. Oh, Henry Cavill is? Yeah. Yeah, that's another one
Very
that
cool.
were I not heterosexual. But Patrick Wilson first. That's my big crush. Yeah, they're all over the place, and their soundtracks are good too. If I'm honest, the video game soundtracks are top notch, all of them.
Hmm.
It's cool seeing them have their
Yeah.
hands and everything.
Hmm. All
They've
right.
even
Well,
they've even kind of got their hands in a cruise.
hmm we've been at this for a little while, so why don't we go ahead and start moving towards our wrap up, and we can let people know what we're bringing upcoming. Because we could sit here and just banter all night, but it
We
is getting a
have
little late.
we have some
You
of
guys might
us
be able to. I'm gonna fall asleep after so long.
some of us banter without audio.
Hmm. But upcoming, y'all can expect to see some developments on the facility that was mentioned in the story, the reawakening of a long-held facility on the moon of Druna, which may or may not have some things going on with it. A few surprises. Um, there's also some hints towards, some sabotage that's been going on. So some people might be in for a rough day. And there's plenty of culprits that it could be. So, how about you, Dax? You heard any other interesting rumors of what might come next?
Well, as a lead up to the upcoming Chaos campaign, our second ever podcast is probably going to lean that way a little bit, if we're honest. So um, you can keep that in mind when piecing together what Dan was telling you. And also, maybe we'll see some of the fallout from the Chaos. You get to see the fallout from the Xenos Wrath and Glory sessions on the Battle Barge 2025. So maybe we'll see the fallout from the Chaos session on
Mm-hmm.
Battle Barge 2025. And maybe when I read a story, my audio will work. It'd be wild.
Right. Well, thank you everybody for joining us that stuck with us. We'll announce when we're gonna do the next one, but we're gonna try and ramp up to doing this fairly regularly. And see you again next time.
Yeah, and check out the links in the description. I'll also see if I can post the story as well as get it to you in the morning.